What's up, guys? How's it going? I am literally just throwing this out here piece by piece, inch by inch, testing this stuff out. And this time I figured out, you know what? Let me try to do vertical. I've never done vertical live stream before, and I know that's like a thing on Instagram and all those things, but I don't use those. But I just wanted to try this out on this platform since I'm doing this. I'm going to stream this. And each time I try to set up the show and everything, of course, you saw the setup of behind the scenes, all the cool things. Now I have everything all set up, but I'm trying out the vertical screen to see how that actually works. And I'm going to watch this, play this back and everything. I'm going to do a test pilot episode, if you will, let you guys into the little secret as to what I'm doing, why am I doing all this, and of course, going through all this trouble. Well, first of all, I wanted to do this from, I think it was 11 a.m. this morning, 10 a.m., something of that nature. But it was complete craziness on my side. So I wasn't able to get the stream up and everything. And got everything nice and set up. As you could see, if you saw the last one when I was messing around with lighting and all that stuff, that is a very real thing. Found the right positions for everything right now. I think this looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on after this, review this before I actually start doing the real show and everything. Again, it was supposed to go on today, but as you can see, I'm coming on at night instead of the morning like I had planned to. Between the missus having me running around, all sorts of different things, technical difficulties, flashes of tech and all that stuff. It is what it is. I'm on still testing this stuff out. So with that said, what is all this? What is the show's name and everything? I've been hinting at it for quite a while now that I wanted to do a Flow live stream on Fridays. Why Fridays? Well, because of alliteration, Flow Friday. Well, as you can see from the title, what I actually have it up here is Free Flow Friday. And a couple of reasons why I want to go with that. Number one, it reminds me of back in the day when I used to watch 106 in Park. Those of you of a certain age know what I'm talking about with Freestyle Fridays, and it just kind of flowed with the flow, right? Goes with the flow. I was gonna go with the flow, but I was like, you know what? That's too much of a common saying. You can Google that, you can find that all over the place. But Free Flow Friday, number one, is a tongue twister, so I can have some fun with that. People who can say Free Flow Friday, Free Flow Friday. See if you can get that done 3 times, whatever. I might give you a giveaway or something of that nature. So, a couple ideas. I'm running with that and having fun. Now, with that said, as you can see right now, the screen is kind of cut off. I have it in vertical format because I want to see how it actually looks on the phone, because most people are watching this. I spoke to a lot of people and so forth. I mean, common sense just tells you right now everyone's mobile, but even on X and the platforms that I'm most competent on, if you will, people actually watch videos in vertical, which I was a little shocked to know because I watch them in horizontal. Maybe I'm the oddball, but all right, since that's the case, most people in Web3, crypto Twitter, if you will, crypto X, they're watching this in vertical anyways. Let me try to do this vertical, set everything up for vertical and get it all going, which kind of looks weird to me. But here's a cool thing. I see that we can actually pull up windows, do all sorts of different things with this. Again, this is why it's a pilot episode, tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing this. But it all starts over here, which I'm going to try to pull up the browser here. Let's see if I can be my own producer here live and do all of this, which is I don't recommend doing this, whatever, especially for someone who is easily embarrassed. You can laugh at yourself or whatever it might be, because you will mess up the tech on live. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. And hopefully all goes well. Let's see here. Boom. Is it showing? Is it showing? Let's see. Showing? I think it is. Share? No, it isn't. There we go. All right. So this is where I'm going to start off with. And this is the idea of where I'm going with all of this. And hopefully now you can see it actually went to horizontal. Now it kind of messed up the whole flow. I thought I was going to be in the bottom corner, also vertical, but whatever. Now you can see the full screen as to what I'm working with. But anyways, so over here, the whole thing, the whole theme is going to be on flow, right? Again, that's why I kept saying I want it to be on Friday. I want it to be on Friday. I kept asking about times and so forth. And people said the middle of the day on Friday, which would be around noon Eastern time, which I thought was an absolutely terrible time to do a live stream. But people said that would have been a good time. So whatever, it is what it is. That's about when it's going to be, depending on my schedule and the craziness that's going on right now. But I'm going to have it locked in on a set time. But the idea of all of this is I've been exploring the Flow ecosystem. You can see different things that I've been putting out for a while, but a few things I want to highlight. I'm going to hop over here again. This pilot episode, testing things out literally on the fly. I'm going to see how this looks in the playback. But start over here, show some different announcements that I did see that kind of caught my eye. This tweet you can actually see, or this post you can see, is from the 18th. Flow was sharing the fact that they are officially on OpenSea, Top Shot, and all of that. So those of you that don't know, Flow is like one of those OG chains that had the various NFTs and such during that first bull market when NBA Top Shot really took off. The team, the original team for that, they built out the Flow blockchain. They actually split into 2 separate teams. There's Dapper Labs now, and there's a Flow blockchain. So really cool things are happening on the Flow side. I'm really focusing on Flow because that's where I've been hanging out. That's where I've been doing all the cool stuff. And that's where I want to do the whole Flow on Fridays, free Flow Fridays, giving away different things and all sorts of things. I have a whole bunch of NFTs and a whole bunch of things that I actually got within the ecosystem because, again, it was just fun. It's just some really fun stuff that's happening on Flow. And I was like, well, the best way to do that is just like give stuff away. Of course, I'm not selling anything per se, other than, you know, what I normally do, my services that are behind the scenes for different companies and so forth. But as far as this show, it's going to be literally just me having fun on Flow and sharing how I'm having fun and all the cool things that I'm doing over there. But as you can see right here, those of you that are into the NBA, again, if you follow me, you know I'm more of an NFL guy. They do have NFL as well. But right here, this announcement was about Top Shot. It's more popular, I understand. But it is now open and available on OpenSea. So that's a cool thing that now you can actually trade it and swap and do all those cool things. But scrolling down here too, a couple things that I thought was really interesting. This announcement that was right here, just saying that this particular platform, which does NFT loans and what have you, hit their all-time high for weekly sales, which those of you that have been following the space into NFTs and all that stuff for quite a while, you're like, well, this whole space is dead. I see these spaces pop up all the time. NFTs are dead. The whole space is dead. But I would have you to know that actually, even last night, there was a huge sale of a different project, different system, ecosystem altogether, but they sold 100,000 NFTs overnight while everybody on the West, if you will, North America, Europe, and those people were sleeping. They were selling 100,000 NFTs overnight while we weren't even paying attention to that. Totally different ecosystem and everything. But I just want to let you know that no, the space isn't dead. It's just the attention has shifted and the way people talk about it has shifted. But anyways, going back to this whole thing, this particular platform over here, as you can see, they hit their all-time high for their weekly sales and everything that's happening within that ecosystem. So again, shows there's a lot of life, there's interest in the space and everything, but also just some really cool things that are being built out. We're going to go to the Flow website itself, and hopefully this works here. Again, trying this stuff in live. Okay, I have to be able to switch tabs, share this tab instead. Look at this. I am learning on the fly as we go. The tech is working with me, and no, it is not. It says it's still on the wrong tab. Okay, share this one instead. Boom, there we go. Now it's working with me. So good thing I have two screens. I'm looking at this, learning on the fly as we go. But this is where we're going to really spend a lot of time and focus when we're going with the show, right? So going forward, of course, on these Friday streams, when I'm showing and highlighting this stuff, a lot of this stuff is actually going to be from the various things that you can see. If you go to explore, you look at apps in here as it is loading. I'm going to show you the different apps and like the different things in the ecosystem, which is really cool. All right. It's going to ask me to keep swapping screens and all this stuff. So here we go right here. You can see right here, there's quite a few things. Now, this whole thing, there's a whole points campaign that's going on right now. It's a SocialFi campaign. You log in, you connect, you set up your account, and everything that you do within the Flow ecosystem, you actually get these points for different surprise boxes, rewards, and all these things. You connect your Discord, X, do all that stuff, you know, the typical SocialFi stuff. But the cool thing about that is, also, everything that you're doing within the Flow ecosystem racks up these points. So you can use these points to do all sorts of cool things, which hopefully here this actually loads. Then you can use it to redeem all of these physical items. So these are actual real things that you can redeem using the Flow points and all the things that are happening within the ecosystem. So you can get Nikes, you can get MacBooks, you can get iPhones, you can get all sorts of cool things, video game systems, MacBook Pros, headphones, you name all the stuff that's all in here. Ledgers, of course, for those people that are using ledgers and what have you. And you have your headphones, you have all these different things. So the digital things as well. You have your CryptoKitties. Don't forget the CryptoKitties, the OG NFT collection, whatever that is, a Flow thing, right? So there's lots of things that they're building out, a game that's actually coming with those CryptoKitties, and different ways you can use them in different things. But that's also something that's redeemable within the ecosystem. So all different things that are happening there. But take a look at these apps. Let's go back a little bit. And there's lots of things being built here. Now, Pump.flow, which is, or I should say Pump.flow is I guess you would say a interesting spin-off of something that you might be familiar from the Solana ecosystem, which is the whole Pump.fun. Well, they have a whole meme coin launch pad, all sorts of different things happening right there, and that's on Flow. By the way, I might add, So those of you that have been on Flow for quite some time, you might know that Flow had its original wallet system and everything, but it was not EVM compatible. But for about 5 or 6 months now, let me see, do the math real quick. It was the end of last year. They launched EVM on Flow, which is compatible with MetaMask, compatible with the systems and things that we're used to, has the longer wallet address and all of those different things. So now you can actually do all this stuff. You can bridge things into your MetaMask and just makes things really user friendly. You don't have to get a new wallet. The Flow wallet, I think, is absolutely amazing. It's really cool. It actually lets you switch back and forth, gas free bridging, if you will, swapping between one to the other from the EVM and the Cadence side, which is the older, I guess you say the native original Flow side. I guess they're both native, so that's probably not the right terminology to use. Good thing I'm not on the team. They'd probably be killing me right now saying like, you're messing it up with the devs, but whatever. As far as the original Cadence side, which is the Flow side, you can bridge it and swap it back and forth to the EVM side, which is easily sent to your MetaMask and everything of that nature. But anyways, so all of that can happen over there. And Kitty Punch, which is a real interesting one. You could do all sorts of things. There's lots of farming. You can swap from various tokens using Kitty Swap, but then Kitty Punch, once you swap into the various tokens and such, you can get various APRs. You can farm and get reward boxes, and you can do all sorts of cool things. So lots of tokens, even that are from other ecosystems. For example, the first one that I saw that came over, they knocked that up over a holiday weekend, was the Trump token, right? That was launched on Solana, but you could actually farm it. You could stake it in here, and you can get rewards in the Flow ecosystem using Kitty Punch, which was really cool to me. And a few things, some DeFi applications, because a lot of times when people think of DeFi, automatically they think of ETH, but then they're starting to think of Solana, and now even surprisingly Bitcoin. But what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a whole Flow suite of DeFi that is built out, and especially on the EVM side, where everything is so much more compatible with MetaMask and all of that, that you can actually start using that stuff right now. And one of the platforms is Anchor here, and Increment. Now, Increment's the one that I use the most. I used both of them before, but Increment, some really interesting things there, because if you, for example, I'll just say what I did. I'm not saying what you should do or anything of that nature. What I did was I staked my Flow, and then I ended up putting it into Increment. And then, because I didn't want to, I guess you would say, lose my exposure to the ecosystem, I still want to borrow things and still wanted to use things, I ended up staking it and then just borrowing against it, getting the Flow out, if that makes sense. Since I was fairly early on it, it was actually really wild timing that I got it. I noticed that they launched that pool really, really early. And when I was browsing through, there wasn't a lot of liquidity in there yet. So what I did was I put a little Flow in there, and it was literally, I arbitraged it in the sense that when I staked mine and put it in there, I was getting back 4% above what it was to borrow it. So if that makes sense, you don't have to really think about all that, but basically just think of what it was to stake it, the rewards that I was getting from staking it. And then when I was borrowing Flow from it, I ended up with a 4% spread just because I was early into that pool and whatever. So if you're looking around and like all the stuff, and again, you just want to have fun, you want to explore what's happening here, just check out all the new things. And of course, everyone that gets into DeFi knows that over time, APRs come down, more liquidity, more people come into it. But since it is fairly new, there's a lot of cool things that's happening. Number one is that you can see some crazy APRs and rewards, such as like the boxes and all that stuff, because again, when you're fairly early onto certain platforms or certain pool, or let's say a particular project or a feature launches, then you're going to get those rewards first, if that makes sense. So it's just really cool once you start exploring all of these different things. And you can see, again, all of these different apps. Stargate is a real cool one. That you might be familiar with Stargate from other ecosystems, other chains. But one of the things that you can do with Stargate is you can just bridge over from Solana, from wherever, Ethereum, and you can swap it into Flow and all the other native tokens that are on Flow using Stargate. But the cool thing about it too is you can also add your gas, because of course you're coming over to Flow. The gas token is going to be Flow. Let's say you don't have any Flow, but you have some ETH. Well, you can actually, in that whole process on Stargate, when you're coming over, you can swap some ETH into some Flow, and you can add a little gas token or whatever it might be, and do also some really cool things, even PayPal, USD, USDC, all these different ones. You can come through and you can use Stargate. So if you're familiar with Stargate from another platform, another ecosystem or chain or whatever, I guess I'm just sharing things that you already know. But just in case you've never used Stargate or heard of it before, that's just one thing that's up there. So there's some really cool things. Again, of course, the Top Shots that everyone knows. But then also, there's a lot of things and integrations with different brands that just is not being spoken about. For example, how many people know that Disney is in Web3, right? I know when I was first covering this stuff on a daily basis, making the podcast and all of these different things, and I was sharing all the brands that were coming in, and it kind of got really quiet, right? But they didn't leave. They're just not front and center making the headlines as they was before. They are now out there. They're doing some really cool things. And yes, Disney is definitely on the Flow blockchain. They're in Web3 and they have not left. So again, so it's really cool things that are out there. And at the bottom here, this is what I really wanted to get to myself, because I opened up by saying, hey, remember NBA Top Shot and all that stuff? And I said I wasn't really an NBA fan. Well, in case you're one of those people just like me that doesn't really watch that much football, doesn't watch that much NBA basketball anymore, and you're more of a football fan, well, there is the NFL all day, which is similar to the whole Top Shot experience. However, in my opinion, again, I'm biased. I'm a football player. I like football, or I was a football player, and I like football. I love football. It's by far my favorite sport. This, to me, is so much better simply because there's more highlights that you can have. There's only but so many dunks that you could see until they all start to look the same, especially if you grow up in like the Michael Jordan era and all that stuff. I'm like, I'm over that right now. Anyways, said all that to say this. There is the NFL all day, which I think is one of the coolest things ever. And yeah, now it's the off season, of course, but football season never really ends. If you're a football fan, you're watching the draft, you're watching free agency, all that stuff. But all days actually goes on right through the off season. So interesting things happening there. But other than that, I think for the most part, one thing that I will show, and again, I'm just hopping around all over the place, mainly because I want to see how this looks on camera. This is a pilot episode, and I'm hopping around and just working off of no script. I'm free flowing it, right? So I'm going to go to Flow Fun. I said fun like a million times, so might as well go over to Flow Fun and show you something interesting over here. flowfun.xyz or xyz, depending where you are. All right, let's see this load up here. So this is an interesting one. Now, if you are really deep in the trenches and you're really familiar with everything that's happening within the various standards for NFTs, the ERC 721s and 1150s and all these different ones, well, 404 was I guess you would say it was an accident. It really wasn't something that was planned. They were messing around with a whole bunch of different standards, trying to do some cool things, and ended up with this ERC 404 that had the NFT that also had tokens that were associated with it. Now, again, I'm not a dev, but I speak to a lot of devs, and there was a lot of debate over this thing. When this thing came out, there was one crowd that said this is going to be the coolest thing ever, and then the other crowd was saying like this was a terrible mistake. They should have never done this. And I was just really privileged to be in some of those rooms and hear it argued out and hashed out, especially anyone who's ever on the Evil Plan space back in the day. This topic came up and was a very contentious one. But anyways, the cool thing with this particular platform is I think they worked out a lot of those arguments that were had against the 404 NFTs. And they enabled the NFTs to be bonded to various tokens. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. You have an NFT that has a liquidity pool like a meme coin would, and each NFT comes with 100,000 tokens. Now that sounds really complicated, but just think of it this way. If you're here just having fun, you get one of these, it's a fairly new platform again. So again, using platforms like this, you're getting flow points and you're farming all of those rewards for the eventual surprises that they're going to unleash over there, because again, this is fairly new. This works with MetaMask. This is EVM and all this, and they're really trying to get people to use that, use their MetaMask and come over. But anyways, so when you get this, so let's just click one, for example. Let's see here. As you can see, vertical screen. See, this is why I'm doing a test pilot episode. Kind of messes it up because now I can't fully see over here on this vertical screen when I'm trying to go horizontal. So I'm learning this on the fly. Let's see if I zoom out. Let's see how that looks. See if it's even legible. I'm going to see how that looks on the phone after the fact. But you can actually see the whole mint process here, the price. And as more mints, the price dynamically adjusts, interestingly enough. But then again, like I said, they're also bonded to those 100,000 tokens. So let's just say that you ended up minting one right now for these 4.9 flow, and a day or two later, 100 of those mints. Well, you're going to notice that that price is going to be like 5.3, 5.4, whatever it might be. I don't know exactly how it's going to adjust per se, but depending on how many mints are done, the price dynamically adjusts. So that gamifies it in the sense that, let's just say you want to sell it, right? Traditionally, what you'd have to do is go to OpenSea, find a buyer, you'd list it, and hope it sells. But with this particular one, once they actually mint out, or the time passes, whatever it might be, they are bonded to those tokens, and then there is a liquidity pool that has the market maker, if you will, so you can sell it back to the pool. It's not burned, it's not destroyed, but it's selling it back into the pool using those tokens. Now, this sounds probably like really weird, like what's going on, especially if you're someone like me who has been in the NFT game for a while, and you're just like, well, what does that even mean? It's completely different than going to OpenSea and listing it and praying and hoping for the best with an illiquid asset. So with something like this, again, it's 4.9 flow. Once the price goes up, as they all mint out, let's just say the thing mints out, the last one ends up selling for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 flow, right? Well, if you minted early and you had got one for, let's say, 3 or 4 flow or whatever it might be, and you just want to sell it back to the pool, instantly it would sell and you would get back those tokens. You can go elsewhere, whatever you want to do. Or you could just stay in there and you can trade this. Let's say you have a really rare one, something that is just really collectible, right? You can go the traditional route. You know, you don't want to sell it back to the pool. You want to sell it to the open market to see what you can get for it. There's that option. You can do that with it. So I find that very interesting. It's a unique spin, if you will. And I know I spent all this time on this particular collection really because I was on a space with the team, the artist, actually, for this one. A few nights ago, I think it was, Wednesday night. And that was just really cool hearing all of the thought that went into it. Now, those of you that look at this, have been following me for a while, I'm going to actually freeze it on this for a minute. That's Charizard. Well, it's a spin-off of Charizard. I mean, Pokemon and Disney is not, or Nintendo is not associated with this. But anyone that looks at this kind of be like, oh yeah, this is a spin-off. This is a spoof of a dragon that reminds us of Charizard, right? So that instantly caught my eye because when I came into the space, it reminded me of when I was in middle school and I was collecting Pokemon cards and I was doing all that stuff. That's how I got into NFTs, believe it or not. I was like, I don't want to take up the space, the time of lugging around binders and doing all that stuff and putting it in little corner protectors and all that stuff. Well, nah, I graduated from that. Not to mention that my wife would actually kill me if I start collecting cards and stuff and like filling up the house with just weird little collectibles. So that's how I got into NFTs. I was like, you know what? I can collect this stuff. I can store them. I can have fun with it. And it's not going to take up any space. And the cool thing is with this particular platform, this particular launch, again, this is Flow Fun. It's just fun stuff. So it kind of got ruined for me when I came over to ETH. I won't lie. I started my journey off over on the Wax blockchain. Then I went to Tezos and all these other places and went over to ETH. And ETH was like all about money, getting rich, just trying to buy a yacht with $1 investment, and it just really warped the whole thing, and it stopped being fun for me personally. People were just doing crazy things, and they were rug pulling and doing all sorts of crazy things. Well, Flow Fun, it's kind of funny that the whole thing with it is like it's fun, right? But then with that, a whole market maker and just the ability to sell it back into the pool and stuff, it's basically an unruggable NFT, right? It is there, and again, if you're there collecting something like this for, I don't know, what is that, 4.94, it's less than $5. When you work out the math, it's like, okay, that's like nothing. And there's like goofy things like this. You got Ploopies, and this is actually really cool, by the way. Let me show you these. I got one of them, and it's actually not showing you the art on this one. Let's see, the NFT. Yeah, that's the unrevealed one. And I don't have my wallet connected to this browser right here, but you can actually see them. They're these little zoomed in creatures, and you can see these insects. If that creeps you out, that's like a different thing altogether. But there's ants, and like there's flies and all sorts of things, and it's like zoomed in using AI and like using digital artwork. It's just really cool, and it's man, I wish this was actually revealed here that I can actually show you it. But anyways, there's some really cool stuff. Even Drippets, you might know him. He has a lot of art on other areas, but yeah, he's over here too. He has this thing, which is it's actually a play. It's called Keyheads. Now, Keyheads, again, I'm trying to go off of memory. I heard him speak about the art probably about 2-3 weeks ago. Was a play on the whole gatekeeping that happens within this industry. And these Keyheads, again, are just these little collectibles that are just laughing at the whole gatekeeping. It's a key head. And again, it's just some fun stuff that's just goofy. You could do different things. And all these other ones, actually, some of these sold out. There's Flow Punks, which I won't lie, I probably got way too many of these. That's another story for another time. But again, that's 1.8 flow. So some really cool, fun stuff there. But anyways, let me go back to this, close this, stop sharing, come back on camera, and just tell you that some really cool stuff is happening over here. It's fun, first and foremost. And secondly, that the fact that EVM on Flow is compatible to MetaMask, it's just one less obstacle that people have to climb, right? If you already use it on Arbitrum, you use it on Ethereum, you use it on whatever else, it's actually the same wallet address that you're going to use. All you have to do is add EVM on Flow. I have a video somewhere on my page about that, how to add EVM on Flow to your MetaMask. You can do it in one click. It's pretty awesome, actually. It's less than 5 seconds. You just go to the block scanner, the blocks chain explorer, and you click add to MetaMask. In one click, it goes up there, and then all the various tokens and so forth. You just go to the page where the contract ID for that particular token is, such as USDC, stable coins that are also on there. You name it. There's a lot of things there. One click, you can add it to your MetaMask to be able to show it. But anyways, said all that to say this whole series that I will be doing, it's based on this test pilot. I'm showing all these things. Again, I'm not exactly 100% sure if I'm going to keep this in vertical format or I'm going to keep it in horizontal. We'll see how it goes. Here's some feedback, see how it looks on my phone, because I'm not monitoring this, actually, believe it or not. I'm just live streaming it, just putting it out there. Oops, just hit my microphone. Never do that when you're live streaming. And I'm going to see how it looks. Going forward, it's going to be in the morning. It's going to be on Fridays. And with the whole theme, I'm going to do some fun things with it because, of course, Flow is fun. At least I have fun on Flow. And I am going to milk the heck out of the F, the alliteration. When I say the F, like that was a terrible sentence. This is why people use scripts when they go live, right? So they don't say dumb things like that. But what I wanted to say is I'm going to use that alliteration a lot, especially since it's a tongue twister. Free Flow Friday, right? Say that 3, 4, 5 times fast. Might give you out a prize, right? Lots of freebies, lots of cool things. And because, again, like I said, some of these things I minted for like a couple bucks. I mean, it's not going to break the bank for me to have some fun with the community, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give stuff away. So if you're interested in any of the stuff that I said, again, it's all free. It's free of charge, just entertainment. And just follow me, follow the page, follow whatever there is to follow, and just check out all the stuff. And I'll be definitely highlighting stuff as I explore it, as I share this stuff. And again, what I'm most interested in, honestly, is learning cool stuff and then sharing it with people. That's how I got into this whole content game to begin with. Those of you that have been following me since the podcast days, it was just stuff that I was finding and discovering. I'm here in Jamaica. I'm on the island. Didn't have a lot of people I could speak to about this stuff. Don't ask me where my accent is. I like to say it froze off in New York, but if you see me locally, it goes in and out. My family is around and everything. It comes and goes. But what I wanted to say, again, not using the script, I'm free flowing right now, is that I'm having fun with this stuff. That's the reason why I got into it. And it just so happens that in the process of sharing all the stuff that I was finding, I got connected with a whole bunch of different teams. I started working with, I even spent a year on a gaming team. Didn't see that coming. And all sorts of cool things happened just because I was following things that I was interested in, started sharing it online, and it just opened up the door for me. So really cool stuff. And I would say tune in, follow the page, and give me some feedback. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you want to see more of, less of, you name it. even if it's less of my face, I'm perfectly fine with that. Just being a podcaster, going back behind the screen and just having the what do you call it here, the screen share, and then nobody would ever have to see me. I wouldn't even have to straighten up my beard before I come on camera or anything of that nature. Will not take anything personal. Please let me know. Throw it in the comments. Give me some hate mail, love mail, whatever it is, ideas, suggestions, questions, comments, concerns. Let me know. So